Developers are reading fan suggestions for Battlefront 2, which does release later this year. This was confirmed by the producer of Star Wars Battlefront, Keslin, who you guys know as the Vestal Viking. This fantastic news does mean fan feedback given by you guys could very well turn into key features and ultimately become a part of Battlefront 2. So today is just a quick update to break down this news and have a bit of a serious discussion about how we as a community approach feedback. My name is Connor and welcome to Star Wars Central. Okay, quickly before we begin, a bunch of you guys yesterday joined the Star Wars Central community Discord server, and we actually ended up playing Battlefront until about 3 in the morning. I had a hell of a time, it was a lot of fun meeting and talking to you guys, so if you want to join, go ahead and check out the link at the top of the comments, in the description, and on screen now. Anyway, let's get started. So the producer of Star Wars Battlefront, Keslin, who we know as the Vestal Viking, revealed yesterday that he is currently reading fan feedback for Star Wars Battlefront 2. This means your suggestions about vehicles, game modes, weapon mechanics, all of that stuff, he is reading them. The thing is, he can't say what he thinks about them yet because Battlefront still hasn't been officially revealed. This is to be expected though. Obviously, it's very difficult for developers to say much about a game this early, because some features may not actually make it into the game by launch. Anyway, let's take a closer look at what he had to say. General note that I am reading everyone's feedback for the next Battlefront, but I just can't comment on things yet. Keep it coming though. So he wants us to give him and the team feedback. Obviously, they want to know what we're thinking about current issues and Battlefront 2, and if we have any good ideas, then they're gonna want to hear them. That much makes sense. Any DICE developers I've met have been incredibly receptive to feedback. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they just want to make a better game that is more fun for the player. So feedback is always taken into account. Now, the great thing about what the Vestal Viking said on Twitter is it's basically an invitation to suggest your ideas. When the first Battlefront was being developed a couple of years ago, things were very quiet and secretive because of how big Battlefront was. It was so quiet, in fact, that there wasn't really a time to suggest ideas, game modes, vehicles that we'd want to see. There was no invitation to, sit around the campfire and say what you wanted in the game. Sure, we as a community still talked about features we wanted to see, but it was very quiet compared to what we have now. So if you have any ideas about game modes, eras, perhaps a class system, even just some small details about weapon mechanics, it's all helpful. The fact that he's stating he's openly reading our feedback is fantastic. So I strongly advise you take advantage of this and give him and the team constructive feedback. I stress constructive here because we have to understand as a community that screaming and swearing at developers on the internet is no way to get things done. If you didn't like something about this current Battlefront, say what you'd like to see changed. So for example, I didn't like Feature X or Blaster Y. In Battlefront 2, could we change things so that, and then propose a solution? That is the biggest part of feedback we need to master as a community. And so when you're giving feedback for Battlefront 2, please remember that we all have the same goal. The developers and us both want Battlefront 2 to be as good as it possibly can be when it launches, so just remember we're on the same team. Anyway, moving on. If you have ideas or suggestions for Battlefront 2 and you're wondering how to show them to the developers, the Vestal Viking actually gave us a heads up of where to post our ideas. Here's what he had to say. Many of you are asking for the best place for feedback. Well, honestly, we devs read Twitter, our forums, and we browse Reddit. We'll see it. So if you have a suggestion that's less than 140 characters, go ahead and use Twitter, it's quick and simple. And of course, anything longer than that, go ahead and use the official forums or Battlefront Reddit. Either way, it's very obvious the developers read the Reddit and the forums very often, obviously as well as Twitter. So ultimately, there is still a very good chance they're gonna see your suggestion. Anyway, that's it for today's quick update. Remember to put your suggestions for Battlefront 2 in the comments below. What type of game modes do you want to see? Any planets or maps? And more importantly, are there any specific vehicles? Maybe you've got a favorite starfighter or just really want to see Rebel hover tanks make it into Battlefront 2. And if you're done doing that, go ahead and check out the Star Wars Central Community Discord server. We had an absolute blast last night, pun intended, playing Battlefront and talking about Battlefront 2 and Star Wars in general. It is free to join, and once it gets big enough, I'll start hosting some giveaways and game nights on Star Wars games. To join, just click the link at the top of the comments in the description or type in the URL that's on screen now. This will take you straight to the server where you can get a role as a Jedi, Sith, or Smuggler, whichever you prefer, and get talking about Star Wars. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you liked the video, like it. Any suggestions for future videos, leave in the comments below. I'll see you next time, and may the Force be with you.